This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we're your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we're back for our final of this ARC Magic School Bus episode. Yeah. Do we want to reflect on this arc right now, or at the end of your episode? Do we want to reflect on it?
I say if we do it, maybe we should do it now, because I'm warning you, this episode might be a little long because we got some tangents in here. Well, I can say too that we're going to cover more Magic School Bus episodes in the future. Maybe not an arc,
there's
but
so much material,
holidays, etc. Exactly. So we'll come back to it, but we might as well do it now.
Well, I guess all I have to say is that I love this arc. I love this show. And then my other only thought is I had a real missed opportunity. I really fucked up last episode for not wearing my bear slippers. Oh, my literal black bear slippers that I usually wear when we record. I didn't have them on.
Yeah.
I could have had them on and showed everyone while I did my black bear tangents. So anyways, I have regrets this arc is what I'm saying. And that's the only one.
That's the only one. That's good for the show then, because unlike the last arc we covered, that show shall not be named. There were a lot of regrets. None of them involved our footwear. So, I'd say that's a win. But no, I echo up until the sentiments about the bear slippers. I echo everything you said. I don't know bear slippers, so I can't relate. But man, this show is awesome. And
it's so good.
I was this morning before we started recording, I always just like to kind of like real quick rewatch the episode that I'm doing, because like if I wrote the script a long time ago, I'm like, oh shit, I should probably like just real quick watch that, so I'm not like exactly. And so I did this morning, and I was just smiling like watching it. Just like, God, man, this has been so much fun. I've loved this arc has been great. I'm glad that we had the chance to do a couple extra episodes, because we love this show so much. Yeah. And I think that it's something that our generation just resonates with so much, like as a show. So
I've loved
notes for real. I love it. We're going to keep talking about it. I know for our holiday arc, at least I found a couple episodes. So
we'll see them again.
Talking about it. I'm sure in the future.
Will ride again.
Exactly. We will ride again.
We'll always ride again.
It's like the Frizz or her niece or whomever, her sister, whoever the fuck that was did. Which
doesn't matter.
Also, I will say a note about that. I'm gonna check that show out eventually. I'll watch like a couple episodes, maybe just to see. But I'm already a little resistant because, listen, we've talked about character development in this arc. For my own personal character development, I started the show or the arc not really giving two shits about Phoebe. She's like my new favorite character now, especially.
That is true. You definitely were like her, and I was like the animal lover, and you were like, I guess. And I was like.
Well, once you said she was an animal lover, I was like, oh my God, I take everything back. I'm so sorry, Phoebe. And then like, she's pretty funny too. She has some funny lines in the episode I'm going to talk about today. Okay. But the reason I tie that into Magic School Bus Rides again is apparently they got rid of her in that show. They brought in a different student. They said that she went back to her old school. The fuck? Who leaves Miss Frizzle's class? Like, no, your old school is so boring.
Wait, also, this child should not be moved around this much. She started a new school that year and then also left that school that year.
Yeah.
Where's CPS?
The next year? Yeah.
Someone take care of this kid.
Where are her parents?
Where are
they even around?
She would not have willingly left this class.
Yeah.
She got to be an animal. She would not have left.
Literally, she got to save animals. She got to be an animal. And in this episode, we're also going to see her have a very strong, like, connection with and just like a love for a particular creature that we're going to talk about in today's episode.
Justice
so just
made
me love her even more. Exactly. Like I said a few episodes ago, there's no more Phoebe slander in this podcast. We love Phoebe. Her. Justice for Phoebe. I respect them adding a new character because I think they did it to like diversify a little bit more what was already, in my opinion, a very diverse cast. Character. Exactly. I guess they didn't want odd numbers. They could have added 2 more characters. Yeah. I don't know. I was mad when I saw that they got rid of Phoebe because they probably, like us, saw her at first as just kind of like the
throwaway.
Exactly. Like, put someone else in there. In my opinion, probably should have been Ralphie because I'm still trying to like pin what his whole deal is.
Yeah.
Like, we thought he was the athletic one, but to me, I think he's kind of just like the chill, just like,
maybe I'm down for whatever, but that's Ralphie centered ones, but like, yeah, I mean, because like Phoebe's got her little one-liners about back at my school.
Exactly, and she loves animals.
Those are funny.
Dorothy Ann, she's got her research. She's obviously the
Yeah.
goody two shoes by the book person. Keisha
Carlos
is
has got
kind of
his
like the brash,
puns.
logical. Carlos is the
Yes.
comedian, the funny one. Wanda's the wild card. Like she's super
Yes, she's the
thrill
tomboy,
seeking.
impulsive. Yeah.
Arnold is very timid and afraid
Yeah,
of
our little
everything. Tim is creative.
nerdy.
So like all of them have their trait.
Yeah.
And
Ralphie
then
has a backwards
Ralphie,
cap.
exactly right. What does that mean? Sports? He's cool. I don't know. We
Right.
don't see him doing that stuff, at least in our episodes. So
Yes.
I think they should have cut
Justice for Phoebe.
him for a new character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Agreed.
whatever. So that and, the Frizz not being the main teacher, I think is enough for me to like look at it with a side eye. But I'll
Also,
maybe
they should
watch a
have
couple
done
episodes
a
one
whole
day.
new cast of children then if Miss Frizz was
That
not the teacher.
honestly,
They
I
should have done
agree. That's what
all
they
of it
should have
different.
done. Yeah. And maybe like there's like cameos from the old students grown up or something in the episodes.
Yeah, but
What
like, do you
about that?
think they're gonna be okay with their
Or just
beloved
don't bring them
teacher
in at all.
leaving and just
Yeah.
being replaced by a relative? No,
Yeah, that's such a good point. They shouldn't, yeah,
absolutely
they should
not.
have just, if you're going to get a new Frizz or a new teacher, just get a whole new cast. The Frizz
Yeah,
can still have her like appearances and stuff,
yeah,
but yeah,
that's
just,
it.
yeah. So,
Mistakes were
hey,
made for sure.
apparently they time traveled and listened to us and
To our
listened to our
previous notes.
suggestions from, yeah, exactly, turning, students into animals. Maybe they'll do it again here. And the next
Yep.
Magic School Bus that we see will be
Seen.
pristine.
Yes, let's hope.
So,
Let's hope.
on that note, yeah, like I warned you guys, gear up, stick with me
Okay,
here because today's going to be a little bit long of an episode,
three
perhaps, but
ID.
it's fair because it's our last episode
Yes, it's
for
deserved.
now of
Okay,
the Magic School Bus. We're going to power through it, just like the
okay.
bus powers through every situation it goes
Everything.
through.
Yes.
Today we are going to talk about season 2, episode 13. The episode is called Ups and Downs.
Okay.
And this came out in 1995. Just put a pin in that for later because hopefully I'll remember to get to a reference from another year that will make that year important. Just like I said, stick with me, guys.
Okay.
All right.
I got you. I got you.
The episode begins on our favorite day of the week, Saturday. Saturday morning,
Morning?
no less.
Is there a
Morning.
mystery?
There is not a mystery. Actually, yes, damn it, there is. There is a mystery.
Oh God.
It's a
Okay.
yes. It's a Saturday
Correct.
morning mystery
We
in
are here.
Walkerville. We are
Amazing.
here. And Wanda is enjoying her breakfast at home in her PJs, seated right in front of the TV. Sounds so familiar,
like we
right?
all were.
We can all relate, particularly in the late to mid 90s, mid to late 90s. But Wanda, unlike us, she's too mature for cartoons. So she's not actually watching her Saturday morning cartoons and animated specials like we did. Instead, she's tuning into the weekend edition of In Your Face, a hard-hitting investigative news show presented by the legendary talk show host and broadcast journalist, Jerry Paveri.
Okay.
She is well known across all of Walkerville for her tough in your face, quote unquote, attitude of getting answers to questions exactly and doing just these very, very gripping interviews live on her show.
Okay.
So Jerry Paveri, she is a slightly like under middle-aged woman, probably, mid 40s or so. And she's got a short kind of like pixie cut, sandy blonde hair. It's very cute, actually works for her. She's got cat eye spectacles, a very deep red lipstick on, and always has a clipboard in hand, ready to check things off, ready to cross off questions that she's pestered you with, and ready to write down notes about very salacious things that you've just said or admitted to.
Okay.
And so before we get more into this episode, I just must add, again, adding to the list of phenomenal voice actors and cameo roles and
I didn't
guest
think about this as an
appearances.
option. Okay.
I mean, either, because I didn't recognize the voice. And to be fair, I'm not super familiar with this actress, but I have seen her in a few places before.
Okay.
And some listeners will have as well. But Jerry Paveri is voiced by the legendary BAFTA and Golden Globes nominated actress, Cindy Williams, who again, at first,
I know the name.
Yeah, right.
Who she was in.
Was like, sounds familiar. So she is best known for her role as Shirley Feeney on Happy Days, aka the Fonz.
Shit. Okay, yeah.
Which was only for a few episodes, but that led to a spinoff called Laverne and Shirley, which was like a 5-season, almost 200 episode thing. Exactly.
Wait, I guess I didn't realize that was,
it was
show was a
Shirley.
spinoff from Happy
I don't
Days.
think I did either.
I
Yeah,
don't know
because
any of
so I
that
didn't.
lore.
Right. And I didn't watch Happy Days that much. Like I know the
Yeah.
basis, like the
Right, I know the
Fonz and Henry
Fonz.
Winkler and all of
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And like some of the actors, but
But I've definitely heard of
we were
Laverne
way
and
too
Shirley.
young. Yes, but I have heard of that. So since she
Oh.
was only in like a few or like five or something episodes of Happy Days, I don't think it really processed for me either that that's where she started and then that she had a spinoff. Yeah. So I was like, oh,
Right.
cool. I just thought that was a whole other show. But yes,
Yeah.
so she was in that and she was also in American Graffiti.
Okay.
Um, Ooh, what was that? 1973, a 1973 movie, which I've not seen, but it is now on my short list because I learned that it
Oh.
was directed by the one and only George Lucas of Star Wars fame and
I
Jurassic
feel like
Park fame as well. He
I think
produced.
I have seen it.
And then Francis Ford Coppola wrote it,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what a
Okay.
fucking team up of
Yes.
goats. I need to watch
Yeah.
this movie.
What a
And there was a
combo.
sequel to it later that she was also in.
Mm.
And she was in the 1974 spy thriller, The Conversation, which I have seen. I watched it
Oh,
recently and
I don't think I've ever heard of
loved,
it.
starring Gene Hackman, rest in
Oh,
peace. Yeah, the one and only Gene Hackman, and
what was
was
it
also
called? The
directed by The
Conversation.
Conversation.
Okay,
Yeah, so
cool.
Gene Hackman plays like a spy of sorts who's trying to like he records a secret conversation held by someone and sells it to
Uh-huh.
someone who hired him to record it, but then he realizes like, wait, what was this about? Am I
Right.
about to get those people killed? Like, I don't want to
Cool,
be
cool.
part of this. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
a whole thing. It's great. Also, like I said, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. So she's like worked
Oh,
with the goats, legit. Yeah.
damn.
Anyways, so she passed away in 2023, though, so not that long
Hmm.
ago, actually. So rest in peace to her. And just
R.I.P.
again, like another legend who just so happened to
Wow,
be available
casually.
when the Magic School Bus made the call. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Like,
yeah,
cool.
I guess I'll pop in for the day.
Yeah, I can.
Quick
All right,
VO.
cool. Why not? I got
Wow.
time.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
So that is the voice of Jerry Paveri, which is also just a very calm, like I can't say that she has a very distinctive voice, which is why for me, I didn't really recognize her
Yeah.
until I just looked up the episode, but very calm voice, a little
Mm.
sing-songy in a way, but yeah, so good to
Cool.
see her here. Add it to the list of greats who have
Hey,
shown up.
dude, truly.
So, as any good broadcast news journalist does, Jerry starts her weekend edition show with the most important, most prescient news story of the day. You
Okay.
start big, it's a reverse triangle. You start big and you work your way down.
You work
Right.
down. You hook them in at the start.
And in this case, the most prescient and important news story of the day in Walkerville is the recent sighting of the monster of Walker Lake.
Oh, okay.
Jerry. So, yes, this is that kind of news.
Okay. Okay. I was like, no, what do we mean by monster? I'm still giving Jerry
Mhm.
credit and I'm trying to be on
Credit.
Jerry's side, but
All right.
I'm
All
already
right.
slipping.
All right. Don't
Already
worry.
slipping.
Time's going to keep on slipping. Jerry, she announces to the screen, to the audience, the TVs, that the monster, it's just surfaced again. And she shows an exclusive only on this channel,
Oh no.
the
Okay.
classic grainy and overly processed photo
Okay.
of a plesiosaur-like serpent creature, the neck and the head of
Okay.
which floating on top of the lake, that kind of, like gray, black and whitish,
Yes.
grayscale. We've all seen the
We
photo.
know the exact
We
photo.
know. And so Wanda, she watches this report with so much excitement and also a little bit of concern. Like, again, we called her our thrill seeker. She's excited
Yes.
that the monster is there, but she's also a little scared. Like, oh man, a monster.
Shit.
Ooh, a monster. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And her mom, Wanda's mom, she's standing in the kitchen next to her watching this news article or this news story. And she just laughs and rolls her eyes, telling her daughter that Jerry Paveri will do anything for a good story, including making one up.
Damn, you are teaching your children news literacy in the fourth grade, fifth grade, whatever grade they are. Fourth grade.
You just said that at the perfect time, Grace, because I will say that today's episode, there's two lessons as per usual in these episodes as we've learned. I'll get to the science part later, but the social context that we learned from this, media literacy.
Yeah,
Okay?
oh my God.
When and where to trust the news.
Wow.
And how to call out lying journalists and broadcast journalists in their tracks.
Okay, I'm ready for
So,
Wanda to get calling out at some point. All right, I'm ready for her character
so
development here. Let's go.
oh, it's going to develop because before Wanda gets to a point where she can call out Jerry on this story that we know is probably not true. We know,
Hmm.
unfortunately, that lake monsters like this don't exist as much as we
Yep.
want them to. Wanda, she's watching this thing and she believes it's real. And she really wants to prove that it's real. She wants to prove her mother wrong. Because,
Okay.
listen, this honest lady on the TV, on the news, just
She's
told
on
her it's
TV.
real. So how could it not be? Exactly. She's on
Yeah,
TV and has like nice cameras and cute glasses on.
it
And that
must be
red
real.
lipstick, it's popping. How could it not be real? How could this not be true?
Hmm.
So after breakfast, she gets into her literal scuba diving gear. She like puts her clothes on over top of scuba diving gear, but like she suits
Wanda
the fuck
would.
up.
Wanda would.
Yes, she would have it and she would put it on. Like,
Yes,
I don't
precisely.
have scuba diving gear. Wanda Lee does
Wanda
though.
does.
Oh, yes. And so she hops onto her bike and she speeds her way down to the lake and hopes that she, Wanda Lee, will be the first person to make contact with this monster of
Wanda's so
Walker
cool.
Lake. She really is, honestly. Like, sometimes she could probably ease it back a little bit, but for the
Yeah,
most
tone it
part,
down.
nah, girl. Like, yeah, you know
Do your
what?
thing.
Push those barriers.
Brave the
Exactly. Do
story.
your thing. Exactly. Now, Grace,
Hmm.
I know we've discussed the Loch Ness Monster on this
Yeah.
podcast before. I did have to
Hmm.
go back and double check when. It was during our Inspector Gadget arc. We may have
Yes,
talked about it another time, but I know for a fact
probably.
we did
It
it
comes up a
then.
lot.
It does. And I actually went back and listened to a bit of that episode to make sure because I was like, I know Grace told some really good stories in there. What all did she remind
Yeah,
us or
what I
teach us
cover.
about Nessie? And you did say some great stuff. Now, you
Hmm.
did not go too much into like the history of the lore of Nessie, but you
Yes.
did talk about some of those like famous sightings that have been
Yes.
reported. Nonetheless, I
Wink,
was
wink.
cracking up at that episode too by nonetheless and good old Saint Columba. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember our good old friend
Yeah.
Saint
He like made
Columba,
his
his
number two go
posse.
out.
Yeah, and
You go
go.
check if the monster's
You
there.
guys go check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna hang back on shore. Let me know what you guys find.
I'll let you know
After
if you
you
get
do
eaten.
find it, I'm gonna become a saint
I'm gonna be
for
the saint though.
yeah.
Oh, I forgot about
So
that. Yes, classic,
yeah,
classic
I was
saint.
cracking up listening to it. Go back and listen to that episode if you're new here. It's in our Inspector Gadget
Yeah, I think it's like
playlist.
our first
Very,
one or
very good. I think it was
something.
our very first Inspector
Yeah,
Gadget episode. Yeah. So listen, we're also not going to talk about the history and all of that of Nessie today.
we'll
We're not
save
going
it
to go
for
too
another
deep
one.
into the lore. Exactly. I
It'll come up.
guarantee you it'll come up again. It's a very popular
Yes.
or a very popular topic that has already also been covered on a lot of other podcasts and
Yes.
podcasts. We'll do something a little different today. Don't worry, we'll probably talk
Okay.
about Nessie some other time.
Okay.
But instead, today, we're going to talk about another lake monster. Because as it turns out, Nessie ain't the only sea/lake creature floating around in the waters around this world. In
Okay.
fact, she's got a lot of distant relatives, quote unquote, that have popped up in sightings all over the
Oh,
earth. And
okay.
so we're not going to go down Loch Ness Tangent Avenue today.
Okay.
Instead, we're going to go on a tangent that hits a little bit closer to home for you and me, Grace,
Okay.
a place that we're both much more familiar with. Today, we're going to talk about a monster that is known primarily by residents of northeastern Ohio and southeastern Michigan. And her name is Old Bessie, the Lake Erie monster.
All right, old Bessie.
Old Bessie, she's coming home.
Oh, all right, old Bessie, let's go. I imagine there's some, steamships by her, just polluting along. All right, let's hear it, old
Somewhere,
Bessie.
yeah, some oil getting in there or something, or the salt from the salt mines in Lake Erie
Oh
somehow
yeah.
not contaminating, but messing up the water levels for
Okay, let's
her.
hear about old Bessie.
Good old Bessie, also
Let's.
known as South Bay Bessie, or the
Okay,
Loch Ness Monster's Canadian cousin, because obviously Lake Erie is both United States and
that's so
Canada,
funny. Okay.
or my kind of favorite, although it feels offensive, knockoff Nessie.
I mean,
Seems a little sad, but I
they
mean,
they didn't
hey,
even try to give
they
her a
call them
different
as they
name.
seize them.
Yeah,
They
they didn't
didn't
even
even
try to
try.
change the name and make it her own
They
monster.
were
They were
not
like,
creative enough.
she was called like the Gertrude monster of Erie, and it was not hitting.
Gertie.
Okay. Yeah, old Gertie was not hitting. They needed better marketing. So Bessie.
Bessie rolls off the tongue better.
Yes,
Yeah, and there's already
it's
Nessie. That way
exactly that's
people
why they did it.
know. As
Yes.
soon as you say Bessie, oh, it's got to be somehow related to Nessie, like the Loch
Yes.
Ness. You don't have to explain that it's a sea monster or like a lake
Yes. You just
monster. Yeah,
know. This is
exactly.
like your family naming twins rhyming names.
Nessie and Bessie.
This is the
Exactly.
same
It's like if
situation
you did it
here.
for cousins that were born the same year, too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Match your cousins or rhyme your cousins'
Rhyme your cousin's
names.
name. Exactly.
Get together with your cousins and, make
Yeah.
sure
Figure it out.
you're coordinating here. So, yes, also known, like I said, as South Bay Bessie, she lurks in the waters surrounding the Lake Erie Islands and around what is
Mm,
called the South Bay of Lake Erie.
okay.
And so, according to an article by Michael Carver for an outpost called Colonial Brewing, which I'm not sure if that's like a beer related magazine because there are some breweries in
Right.
northeastern Ohio as well. And I think one of them actually has a brew named after the Lake Erie monster, which I've had before. It's actually pretty good. It's an IPA.
Cool.
Anyway, so I think that they like kind of went into the history of this and everything. And Michael Carver describes Bessie as snake like, 30 to 40 feet long, at least 1 foot in diameter, and a grayish color. But to be fair, no two descriptions of Bessie are identical. Some other
Oh,
sources have ID'd her or him, maybe, but we're going to say her, as having terrifyingly a dog like head and
sorry.
large fins.
Hold on.
You heard that right.
Did the animators of Magic School Bus make this monster?
They
Make
might
this
as well have because they
Frankenstein
clearly don't understand how to
monster?
merge
Yeah.
different beings into like one cohesive
Yes, one
thing.
look.
Others, unfortunately, even scarier, have said that it has human-like arms, and others also
No.
say that the color is not gray, but more like copper or even silver. Yeah, so could
Okay.
you imagine a dog-like head, fins and a human-like arm?
No,
Like, I can't. I literally can't,
this
actually.
is like a children's drawing of a monster. This
That's
is like
I was
Trogdor
gonna say that's
adjacent.
the most I can imagine is like a pencil little kindergartner's
Yeah,
drawing of just
exactly. Just
an
sketching it.
abomination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't want to see
So
Bessie, old Bessie.
in this same article, Carver talks about and kind of like recounts the first sighting that allegedly occurred in
Mm,
1793. So, in this sighting, the captain of the ship Felicity and the entire crew of the ship, they were steering their sailboat through the shallows of Lake Erie's islands, duck hunting with a musket. And the captain reported that he was startled by an enormous serpent which had started thrashing around near his boat. And he said that the
okay.
beast hissed and lashed water with its tremendous tail before disappearing back into the foam.
Okay.
So, this account and a few other similar accounts saying that it was just some sort of serpent like creature in the water, they would happen for years later, or continue on for years later.
Okay.
And later, they would even be published in the Cleveland Gazette and the Commercial Register in 1818. So they started publishing some of these tales, so they
Okay.
say. But in 2019, an
Oh,
article by Kevin Carpenter for Cleveland Magazine, he debunked this Gazette article from 1818. And
okay.
he wrote that some historians at Case Western Reserve University, which is a university in the
Hmm.
Cleveland area, they believe that the 1818 newspaper account was actually an allegorical broadside, which apparently I looked it
Oh.
up. What a broadside is, it's like kind of an old word when print was more of, I guess it's still an industry, but I don't know. I feel like it was more of a niche where it was either like a
Hmm.
weekly cartoon or
Right, or
like
like
a
an ongoing
tabloid
story,
piece.
right?
Yeah, or even like an ongoing story, but like I don't think it was taken as seriously for some reason. Like
Okay.
everything I could find about it, it had like either it's cartoon or it's tabloid or it's like just a
Mm,
poster that's like depicting something,
like
but
some
not
scene.
necessarily like a factual account. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
and apparently what they interpret this broadside to be was related to the second bank of the United States and not a literal monster attack.
Oh,
So
okay.
apparently, the Cleveland Gazette was known as pretty maybe a far left-ish
Uh-huh.
publication in its heyday, or like back in the OG days in the early 1800s.
Uh-huh.
And so the historians believe that the Gazette was more so commenting on an economic policy
Wait,
just
that's
passed by the
so
second
funny.
bank.
This was just
wherein the
a
bank
political
it
cartoon.
was it was literally like a satire, like an
Oh my
allegory. Yeah,
God.
a political
Okay.
cartoon where the policy was that the bank had just reversed its credit policy and demanded immediate repayment of balances due from people
Oh,
nationwide. Yeah, which hilariously, presciently, is kind of like what we're going through in the US right now with this whole
yeah.
tariff debacle about possibly
Yes.
companies having to be paid back tariffs that are
Suddenly.
possibly illegal. Yeah, so
Yeah.
something kind of similar to that. And so historians thought that that's what the anti-bank Gazette
That's
was doing.
so
They were actually
interesting.
comparing the second bank to a serpent attack, perhaps a policy that would even more so particularly hurt people in the shipping and trading industry,
Wow.
signifying the ship that was being
Cool.
attacked by a serpent. So I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. Like, I love to believe in monsters and conspiracies.
Yes.
So I was like, I doubt it, but that actually does kind of make
And you're like,
sense.
that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Cool.
Yes, but while that may be an astute observation and may actually be like the correct interpretation of that
Yeah.
1818 article, it doesn't change the fact that a lot of sightings have still been reported since that article was published. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that was 200 years ago, and
Right.
people are still basically citing or, seeing sights of this monster.
Yeah.
So, for example, in July of 1892, the entire crew of a ship bound from Buffalo, New York to Toledo, Ohio,
Mhm.
saw a large area of water about half a mile ahead of them churning up and foaming. As they approached it, they claimed to have seen a huge sea serpent that appeared to be wrestling around in the waters as if it was
Hmm.
fighting with some unseen foe.
Okay.
They observed as the creature relaxed itself and eventually stretched out to its full length, which they estimated to be about 50 feet long and 4 feet in circumference.
Damn.
So very big, very long.
Yeah.
Uh, Even way bigger than an anaconda. I don't think anacondas get 4 feet wide, but I'm not sure. 4 feet, like,
Yeah.
so,
And
I
50
don't know.
feet
But
long.
that 50 feet long is very long for something swimming around in the water around you,
Yeah. In the
especially.
lake, no less. Okay.
Yes. And they said that its head was sticking up above the water an additional 4 feet. So
Okay. Damn. So this
was
is
it the dog shape head? I don't know.
where was the
But
human
that
arm?
was,
Who's to
but that,
say?
where was the fin? I don't know. We don't know.
Okay. They
But they
don't
also
know.
described the creature as brownish. Or sorry, no, they said its eyes
Okay.
were brownish. I'm sorry. And that
Wow.
it
They got a
was
good look.
viciously sparkling. Yeah, I know. That sounds
Viciously
very close. Especially
sparkling.
they're saying hat.
They were like, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's drawing us in closer.
Oh
That's its
God.
danger and its power.
Siren. Okay.
Yes. And they did see large fins that were also noted in their accounting of what they saw. And
Okay.
so this story, since it was like, a pretty reputable captain, like I guess captains back then had a certain prestige about them that allowed them to be
Uh-huh.
more trustworthy. Like, why would he lie about this? So a lot of local newspapers started carrying the story and reporting out on that sighting. And
Mm.
then finally, I mean, there's many more sightings we could talk about, but this is just the last one I'll talk about, was in the
Mhm.
1980s, so much more recently,
Okay.
when two women allegedly spotted the Lake Erie monster and described it as reptilian and snake-like with big flippers, much like those of a plesiosaur,
Okay.
like its old
Like
cousin
its
Nessie.
cousin. Okay.
Exactly. So, according to one of these women, the creature was so large it could have easily capsized a boat. So, very, very big,
Okay.
matching the description given back in the early to mid 1800s.
Okay.
Now, in the article titled Meet Bessie, the Loch Ness Monster of Lake
Bessie.
Erie,
Uh-huh.
which was written in 2020 by Lindy Osborne in a magazine called Great Lakes Guide,
Uh-huh.
she introduces another element to this folklore that I thought was really interesting and worth highlighting. It's something I've not really thought about with like these ancient sea monsters,
Okay.
but she brings up Onyara. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct.
I've never heard that in my life.
Onyara
Okay.
is the ancient water spirit of the Great Lakes. Now,
What?
we know, yes, Ohio was very, very populated with indigenous peoples and
Uh-huh.
Native Americans and First Nations tribes way, way long ago, and even less long ago than we would like to admit in many cases.
Yes.
So she posited that perhaps some of the indigenous folklore and history kind of trickled into
Oh,
the new,
interesting.
more modern mainstream history.
Uh-huh.
So Well, modern audiences and drunk tourists create all of these superstitious tales of the Lake Erie monster. The legend of a serpentine creature living in Lake Erie actually originated in First Nations culture.
Okay.
Indigenous groups in the Lake Erie region, particularly parts of the Iroquois tribe, they
Uh-huh.
would speak of onyare, which is also a Mohawk word for snake. And
Oh.
so they described onyare as a horned dragon-like snake that breathes both poison and fire, which seems unfair. How do you breathe poison
Pick
and
one. Pick
fire?
one, please.
Pick one, yes. But onyare is said to capsize, was said at least by First Nations, to
Uh-huh.
capsize canoes and devour humans, though the creature would sometimes spare travelers if they made proper offerings to it.
Oh.
Yikes. So
Okay.
whether
Cool.
Bessie and Onyare are the same creature has yet to be determined or settled, but the one thing is for
Mm.
sure, the ancient tales of lake monsters and sea creatures seem to be as old as mankind itself. And basically, wherever a human travels, a man will find or create an evil
Mm.
creature that must be vanquished or feared in its path.
Yes.
And also led me to think that, like, hey, next time I or you or anyone listening, next time we find ourselves boating through the South Bay of Lake Erie while vacationing in Michigan,
Gotta
probably,
keep
or
our
less
eyes
likely in
peeled.
Cleveland, well, yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Take a closer look at the waters for the elusive Bessie as she either hunts for her
Cool.
next meal or just kind of floats around in the water enjoying the weather. I had no idea that Ohio had
Wow.
its own lake monster lore and found from the Wikipedia page that there are lake monsters, like I said, all over the world and
Wow.
all over the country. Yeah.
That's so fascinating. I'd be really interested to hear like what those like First Nations and tribes like say today about
Yeah.
the like relationship of if they're just automatically like, yeah, no, that was like
Yeah. That's
the
Onyara.
colonizers' version of like our like lake
Yeah.
spirit. Like, yeah, no,
Like
no,
we
they
made that
just
up. That's
right.
ours. Yeah. We
Like
told
that
them that story.
this is right, exactly. Like we told them if you're gonna go on this water, please be aware and like make an offering to like this lake spirit. And they said,
Right.
hold my mead.
Hold my beer.
I'm gonna
Hold
make it.
my beer.
I'm Scottish. I'm gonna make it
Hold
something
my
else
beer.
now. I'm gonna colonize your spirit into a monster.
Right.
Thank you,
It was
kind of
like
thing.
someone who was like traveling, shipping some shit from Scotland through like the St. Lawrence Strait or
Right. And they
whatever
like
to
heard
Lake
from the
Erie.
local tribe, like, here,
Exactly. And
like,
then
be
they
respectful of
brought
our
it
lake
back.
spirit, or you're gonna get
Yeah.
fucked. And they were like, this sounds like someone I know, Nessie. And they were like, that's not what we
Interesting.
said.
That's
And
not at
today they're
all
like,
what
that's
our
still not
story
what we're
said.
saying. And we're like, no, this is what we're hearing though.
No. We
Right.
got you. A big wink.
They're like, you certainly don't.
Um, That
That's
is
so
such a good
interesting.
point too, though. Yeah, because I guess I really only tied it to like, oh yeah, when Yare was used as like the Bessie lore, or maybe for some other American
Yeah.
tales. But like, I mean, it's very possible that, I mean, yeah, like there was trade going on back then.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, and maybe if we had done more of a deep dive on Nessie, the history of Nessie, we
We
would
would have
know when
known
the first
Nessie's
sighting
lore.
of Nessie was. Yeah,
Nope,
I
we just say once
guess
there was a
we
photo and
just
beyond,
exactly, and
and
that's
all
all
the
we stick
fakery.
with. One day, maybe we'll talk about Nessie's history so
It'll
that we
come
can
up,
tie
I'm
all of this
sure.
together. But yeah, it would be interesting to
Wow,
know if like First Nations
fascinating.
had any sort of, yeah, any sort of influence there. So,
Cool.
anyways, back to the magic school bus and
Wanda's about
the
to
lake
find someone.
monster. She's about to find a few things. We'll
Hmm.
find out here with her.
Okay.
So Wanda does get to Walker Lake on her bike. She's pedaling to the metal and she's very eager and excited to be the first person to make contact with this lake monster.
Okay.
But just as she rolls up on her bike, she notices that the rest of her classmates are already there. They're
Oh,
hanging
oh.
out.
Was that what you
Everybody
wanted?
was watching in your face. Apparently, these kids don't watch cartoons in the morning. They
Yeah.
all watch the news.
Investigate. Not surprised, honestly.
This is how Miss Frizz has
Let's raise these
what's the word I'm
children.
looking for? I was going to say raise them, but I guess yeah, we'll say that. It's better than the
Influence,
other
yeah.
word I want to say. Influence, that's the word. Okay. So, yes, her other classmates are already there. They're hanging out on some of the docks in the lake, trying to lure this monster out of the depths and into the light,
Okay.
or at least just get some sort of evidence that the monster exists. So the other students, like I said, they're already there, hard at work, and they're actually
Mhm.
surprised that Wanda was the last one to arrive because again, they know she's like the wild card, the thrill
Yeah.
seeker, and they expected her to be the first one there. Like, boom, I'm going to catch this thing. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, while they were waiting for her to arrive, they explained that like Phoebe has been trying to feed the monster, which I was like, God, I love you, Phoebe. I'm so sorry that I ever was mean to you.
Monster.
Yeah, she is. She's like, I want to be the first one to feed it. So like Wanda wants to be the first one to make contact. Phoebe wants to be the first one to feed it. And Tim, he's trying to record it. He wants to be the first one to film it. So Phoebe's trying to drop a banana in the water so that it'll go down to the bottom of the lake and feed this monster because she thinks it must be hungry down there. And she's like, it's too afraid to come up here, so I'll give it food down there.
Phoebe.
I was like, Phoebe, you're the best. Screw you. The magic school bus rides again. Screw you for getting rid of such a wholesome character.
Truly.
And yes, Tim, he's trying to drop the camera into the water. It's like protected by a thick plastic box. Don't worry, Kim's smart. Yeah, it's in like one of those high tech, boxes. Yeah. And he just like throws it into the water though. Like I don't think it's attached to a string or anything. He's like, we'll see. I do not question his methods.
No, he's an artiste.
Exactly. But the snack, the banana, and the camera, they don't sink. Both objects, they just float on top of the water in front of the students, much to their dismay, particularly to Phoebe's dismay, because she's really worried that this monster is not going to be able to eat now. Yeah. And Tim is more just kind of laughing like, look at that. My camera won't sink. Interesting. And so Keisha, she tells the students that they need to find a way to turn these floaters into sinkers. Which they say many times throughout the episode, and my immature brain just laughs every time because I just always think of poop. Yes. Like it's like, a floater here.
That's why they know what to say.
Exactly. And it's obvious that they know, what they're referring to here. They make a few good puns throughout the episode every time they say it. So Wanda, who is now fully donning her scuba suit, she tells the kids, like, all right, move out of the way. Fuck your camera. Fuck your banana. I don't give a shit. And she's ready to dive in and go down, to the bottom of the lake to meet this monster. Skeptical, though, Phoebe is like, I don't know, Wanda. Like, what would Miss Frizzle say? And Wanda, she makes a good point. She's like, it's Saturday. There's no school. And there's Miss Frizzle. So I don't care. Like,
she wouldn't say shit.
What would she say? Exactly. She wouldn't say a damn thing because it's Saturday and we don't have to see her today. But no, the Frizz is always nearby and she's always listening because at that exact moment, we see a dark shadow begin to approach the surface of the lake and we hear like that Jaws-like music of the dun dun dun, and the shadow, it comes to the top of the lake and then it starts floating closer and closer to the docks where the students are. And eventually, out from the water bursts Miss Frizzle.
Is she scuba diving?
In full scuba diving gear.
Hell yeah. Yes. She was like, you guys are late.
Yeah. She's like, I've been here for 2 hours. Catch up. Kids, you're going to have to write a paper on this. You're ready?
Yeah. Y'all better be ready.
Yes, she's very excited to see all of her students on the dock. And the kids ask her, like, were you just like diving in Walker Lake? Like, were you looking for the monster too? And she's like, oh, well, yeah, we'll figure something out here, blah, blah, blah. She's like, kind of plays it off.
A little vague.
And listen, once we get to the end of the episode, I realize that I'm not going to bury the lead here. Frizz already has this investigation taken care of. She got there early, put on her scuba suit, went to investigate herself to, one, make sure it was safe enough for her students. Because if there is a real monster, you don't want to take your students by that.
Yep.
But Frizz knows. Monsters don't exist. She's the only monster on this planet. She
eliminated all the other ones.
Exactly.
Also,
so she's like,
Frizz,
let me get to the bottom of this. And she knows Jerry Paveri, I believe. Go ahead and say what you were going to say.
I was going to say,
finish my sentence.
Frizz has absolutely an inside scoop into every newsroom. And some camera guy was like, Jerry's coming out with another Bessie story or another monster story today.
Yep.
8 a.m. be there. So Frizz is there at 6 a.m. to break this story before
you'll find $20K in your account tomorrow morning. Yeah. Another $20K the next day if you're able to nip this in the bud.
Exactly.
Put an end to this. Yeah.
Yep.
Doing her usual mercenary shit. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, a fourth grade teacher can't afford just a scuba suit. And this is a high tech one too.
Let me tell you.
Yeah. So there's something going on
She's,
here.
yeah,
Friz is
making it on the
doing her
side.
real investigation. And now that she knows it's safe for the kids to also do
Now
an
they can
investigation to
come
come to their
learn.
own, exactly, their own
Yes,
conclusion.
I completely agree with this.
Exactly. So Wanda tells the Frizz that the story about the lake monster must be true because Jerry Paveri showed a picture of the monster on TV,
Wanda, you idiot.
further proving that Grace is the adult version of Dorothy Ann.
Oh no.
Dorothy
I
Ann
am.
chimes in and reminds Wanda that, and the rest of the class, that pictures can be fake. And
Yeah.
the only way that you can prove if something is real is by finding hard evidence, of
Yeah,
which
baby.
they have none. Yeah.
Oh,
So she says in a much
my girl.
friendlier way what you just said, you dumbass. So,
According to my research, y'all are
yeah,
stupid.
you're stupid. And unfortunately, this little lesson from Dorothy Ann is way too relevant today with
Mm,
AI and shit. It's like literally anytime I get on Facebook or Instagram, I'm just looking at a trove of fake pictures that way too many
yep.
people think are real. And it's very
Yep.
concerning. So, guys, listen to Grace and Dorothy Ann. Don't be a dumbass.
Yeah, stop being
Um,
stupid.
yeah. So Dorothy Ann then tells them, we've got to find evidence. Or actually, it goes, I got to say the pun or the joke that
Oh,
happens in this.
yes.
So Dorothy Ann is like, right now, we don't have any evidence. And so the Frizz says, in class, what do we do when there is no evidence? And Arnold chimes in, like, go home.
We give up. It's Saturday. What am I
Give
doing
up.
here?
It's Saturday. Yeah. We're not
I
supposed to
like
be
to
in
be
school.
home.
So
Yeah.
watching cartoons, please. And Wanda's like, no, you go and look for it,
Okay, yeah, let's
which
go.
is true. You get to the bottom of it when you don't have
Yes.
evidence, you look for it and you answer the question yourself.
Hell
So,
yeah.
right at that moment, Jerry Paveri herself appears over the lake in a freaking helicopter that
Oh
she
no,
is
Jerry.
flying and piloting, by the
Jerry.
way, hovering nice and low, warning all of the civilians, like the Frizz and the kids,
Uh-huh.
to go home, stay away from the lake, and stay safe because it's obviously very dangerous with this recent monster
Mm.
sighting and all these tales of a monster floating around underneath there, down there, whatever.
Mhm.
And so she encourages everyone with an earshot to tune in to her next edition of In Your
Ugh,
Face for any new
bitch.
updates on the monster sightings rather than coming down here to see it for yourself.
Yourself. This is Frizz's enemy
Hmm.
for sure. This is a
Oh,
nemesis of
absolutely.
Frizz.
She is literally anti-facts. Like she
Yeah,
hates the
she's like,
truth.
it's
And
fake
the Frizz
news.
is like the beacon
The
of finding
epitome.
the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like using
So,
facts and evidence and research for it. Yeah, Frizz
hmm
doesn't hate many people, but
hmm
Jerry, she fucking hates for sure.
it's almost kind of symbolic of the
Yeah,
modern day we live in.
yes,
Academics
exactly.
and academia
Right.
skeptical of
Versus,
people on our TVs telling us certain
yes,
things or on our computer screens telling us certain things.
yes.
Interesting,
Interesting.
interesting.
Interesting. Magic School Bus shaping us.
Yeah. Hmm. For
Hmm,
many
what
years
do you
to
know?
come.
Yeah.
So these safety warnings from Jerry, they only raise more curiosity and excitement from the students.
Mm.
So it's kind of like the reverse effect, like the
Yeah.
Streisand effect. I think it's like the more you talk about, or the more you say, don't think about something, the more
The
people
more
are
I
going to
think
start
about it.
talking and thinking about it.
Yeah.
So Wanda, she remembers like Jerry doesn't own this lake. She can't stop us from doing what we want to
Hell yeah,
do here.
Wanda.
She can warn us all she wants, but it's not her lake. So she's like, hey, we're free to investigate and search this lake if we want to. And
Hell
that
yeah.
they do. The Frizz concur. She's like, you are absolutely right, Wanda. And she
Yeah.
whistles and calls for the magic school bus. And we see it rolling down the path to the park and through, the
Oh.
park to get down to the lake with Liz,
Uh-huh.
of course, at the wheel, steering it, got her
Yeah.
captain hat on and
Cute.
everything. And Liz presses a button to change the bus into kind of like a submarine sort of thing that's
Okay.
on pontoons, though.
Okay.
And what I will call they might call it this too, but the bus marine, because
Nice.
bus is just sub
Yeah.
backwards. Um, it plops
Perfect.
itself that like, hey, I didn't write it. I wish I could have, but hey, they're a step ahead of me. But yes, the bus marine plops itself right on into the water, and the students and the Frizz all load up on it. Now, unfortunately, according to the Frizz, someone, aka Liz, did
Uh-huh.
not take proper care of the bus marine controls in between this little foray and the
Uh-oh.
last time they took the bus marine out for a little dive.
Okay.
So the Frizz tells the students that they can't use like the automatic controls to dive down underwater, and they're
Okay.
going to have to use some knowledge of physics and whatnot to figure out how to sink the submarine, the bus marine down so that they can explore
Okay.
the bottom of the lake to find this
Damn, we're
monster.
learning already.
Exactly. You can't get too far in this show without a
Not
science
learn.
lesson coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Miss Frizz was like, you know, we're supposed to talk about buoyancy and floating and sinking on Monday. Jerry
This
Paveri's
life
got this
lesson now.
bullshit story out. Let's just do it today. It's Saturday.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. Let's just do
Yeah.
it now. So, the first task is therefore, like I said, figuring out how to get this bus marine to sink to the bottom of the lake.
Hmm.
And they begin to use Phoebe's little snack and everything experiment as like proxies for what they have to
Okay.
do here. So Phoebe, she's got her banana in one hand that she wanted to give to this monster. And somehow in her other hand, she's found a rock and she's holding it.
Okay.
She's like, all right, they're both the same size. And she like tosses them into the water and she just looks at them and sees, the rock sank, but the banana is still floating.
Hmm.
So she grabs the banana back out of the water, gets another rock from somewhere, straps that onto the banana, and throws
Okay.
it back into the water, and now sees the banana sinking.
Well.
And she's like, so we added extra weight to the banana, and now it's
Hmm.
sinking to the bottom of the lake. So the students are like, oh, we just need to add extra weight to the bus marine, and then we will also sink down
Mm.
to the bottom of the lake. And luckily for them, there are like multiple piles of just these empty barrels just kind of sitting along the dock and the shore of this lake that
Uh-huh.
I don't know what they're for. Walkerville is obviously in the middle of some sort of industrial project and forgot to
Yeah.
clean up or something. I don't
Miss
know.
Frizz put him there for this lesson.
She did. Honestly, they're way too perfectly placed for this that
Yeah.
like this was not an accident. This is not some
What could we
accident.
possibly use? That was right
Bruce is
there.
like, if only we had barrels and sand and
Wouldn't that be
I don't
so
know,
good, kids?
kids.
I don't know. Look around.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well, kids,
right
what's that over there? Did you just see
there.
that? And the kids were like, a monster? Where? Oh, hey, Miss Frizzer's barrel
Oh my
there.
God,
Look at that.
that's
How cool.
crazy. What?
Hey, let's go fill them.
Let's use
Yeah. So,
it.
yes, they run over to the barrels and they start filling them up with sand. They're like shoveling
Mm.
all these piles of sand. The kids, not the Frizz, by the way. The Frizz is just
Uh-huh.
chilling on the bus with Liz, waiting for the
Good.
kids to finish this
Get
manual
done.
labor, this hard
Yeah.
labor. Yeah.
Hard labor.
Watching them sweat. And they roll these barrels over to the bus marine, load them on, and like strap them to the hull. And they
Hmm.
add the extra weight that they need for them to start
Mm.
sinking. So down they go, diving and sinking deeper and deeper to the bottom of this lake. And the kids are just like amazed and in awe
Mm.
of all of the sights that they're seeing because this lake is like super beautiful. Again, Walkerville, biodiversity on point.
Ah,
Like
truly.
put this place in a documentary series, explore
Get Nat
and figure
Geo in
out why this
here.
place has everything that it has. Yeah, they see these beautiful massive fish swimming past them, all of this
Mm.
cool plant life underwater. But what they don't see, hiding behind rocks in the shadows of this lake, is indeed a monster.
Oh.
Jerry Paveri. She's
What?
the
Hold on
monster.
there.
I was gonna say a journalist, but I don't believe that all journalists are
No,
monsters,
this
so
was
that
good.
felt
This was good.
mean.
And honestly,
Yeah,
I
so
did
it's
not
just
see that
like,
coming. Okay.
okay, yes.
That's what my
Could
surprise
you
was for
could
was,
you
hold on,
imagine
what?
her?
She's down here? Hold on, what now?
But imagine if she was down there and they did that abomination again of like hybrid crossing her with the plesiosaur, where it's like
Yeah.
she is legit a monster.
Right, she is actually the
Not
monster.
symbolically a monster. Yes. No, she is symbolically a monster at the bottom of this lake. And she's in her own like personally owned high-tech submarine.
Jerry's got some money.
You know, salacious stories like this,
Hey,
Grace.
we'll get
Yeah,
those
we see
clicks.
how, yeah, exactly. Get those
Those
clicks. To say we
advertisers
see how
love them.
people's YouTube numbers are in some cases. Like the more
Yeah.
ridiculous thing you're reporting on, the more
Higher and
clicks and likes you're
higher.
going to get. She got
Yep.
money. And she's keeping an eye on anyone who tries to find evidence of this lake monster before she does.
Sorry, do the kids
But
see
what
her or
she
do we just
they
see
don't.
her?
She's hiding. We just see
Oh,
her. Yeah,
okay,
she's
okay.
like in the shadows, and once the bus kind of like float or
Then we see
is
her
like
poke her head
swim
out.
going through the water, yeah, we see the her own little sub kind of like peek out from behind some
Okay, okay.
rocks, and then she like stealthily follows them through the water.
Cool.
But what Jerry says too, while she's following them, she doesn't just say that she doesn't want these kids to find the monster. She says she doesn't want the kids to find her monster. She
Mm.
says, if those kids find my monster, I'm sunk. Like my story is sunk.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
This is reminding me of some of the Nessie fakery stories that we discussed in
Which
my Nessie episode. Oh no.
you just said it at the perfect time because I was going to bring it up. I didn't type it here, but I was like, okay, I need to remember to make this connection. Because
Hmm.
as I was watching this episode, it was at this point that I was like, wait,
We
didn't
talked about
Grace
this.
tell a story just like this where a group of people, and I did, that's why I went back to listen to that episode that we
Amazing.
did of Inspector Gadget, where Grace told a story
Hmm.
from the year 2004. Mind you, this episode
Wait,
came out in
who
1995,
inspired who? Who inspired
where a group of
who?
people created like an animatronic Loch Ness monster,
Yes, and
sunk
people
and,
fucking bought
put it
it.
into Loch Ness in Scotland. And
Uh-huh.
at some point it like sank and actually ruined it because it's like a machine and not like
Yeah.
a stuffed doll, like what we end up seeing in this episode, or like a
Uh-huh.
balloon that we see in this episode that's weighted down underwater.
Uh-huh.
No. So I was like, oh my God, this is literally exactly what happens in this episode of the
Yes,
Magic School
that's
Bus. And I
uh-huh.
forgot what year the real world story happened. So I
It
was
was
like, did they
2004.
just like, is this episode making fun of that? But then I realized it was like 10 years later.
They
So
were
I
like, this is a good
legitimately think those
idea.
people watch this episode. Yeah. And they were like, hey, we can get away with this. Like if we are a little bit smarter than
Right, we just
Jerry,
won't do a
we can get
balloon. We
away
won't do
with
a
it.
balloon. We'll do something else.
Exactly. And animatronic. Yeah. So
Done.
I
Easy.
literally, I was like, that's
Amazing.
hilarious. And also, I think you mentioned Inspector Gadget in your last episode, which was very funny that like you brought it up. I forget what you tied it to, but you mentioned our Inspector Gadget arc last week.
Oh
And I was like,
yeah.
that's so funny because I'm
That
going to
is funny.
mention
What was
it
I talking
today.
about? Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I was
do
going to
recall
call it
that.
out then, but I was like, we'll just wait. We'll just
Yeah,
wait.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't remember what you said
Amazing.
now. But, anyways,
It's all tied together,
so
always.
it always comes together. Our first show of the year and our last full
Oh, and
show
our
of the
last
year.
arc.
Look at
Oh,
that. What a great year it's
beautiful.
been for Saturday morning mysteries, at least. So,
True.
some other places, maybe not so much. So, yes, Jerry is stealthily now tailing the bus marine underwater. And at one point, she's able to use this high-powered submarine that she has. It's got
Mhm.
like the hand, like the extendable claw things on
Oh
it that
yeah.
you can like retract and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she removes some of the weighted barrels from the hull. Again, she does it very sneakily and
Okay.
in a way that no one on the bus is able to see.
Wow.
And so the loss of weight causes the bus marine to start rising back up to the
Yep.
surface, much to the confusion and anger of the students.
Hmm.
So they're now all the way back up on the surface of the water. Wanda is the most pissed of all of them because she's trying to
Yeah.
see this monster. Phoebe is also upset because she's afraid that the monster is starving.
Hmm.
Love you,
Everyone's
Phoebe.
upset.
And everyone's mad for a different reason. Tim's not
Uh-huh.
getting footage. Carlos's jokes aren't landing.
Right.
It's just
He
bad. It's all
prepared
around
underwater
bad.
jokes and they're on the
Yeah.
surface. What's he supposed to
And they're
do?
on sites. He can't hit the
Can't
crowd. It's
improv.
not working.
Yeah.
So he can't improv. So Tim, while the rest of the students are brainstorming, Tim is like opening up the plastic box that his camera's in, and he just loads a bunch of rocks into there to weigh it down
Mm.
some. He ties a long rope onto it, and he slowly lowers it back down into the water so that he can somehow get some video, at least while they're coming up with a new idea.
Hmm.
And Phoebe, meanwhile, she now has pulled a peanut butter sandwich out of her lunchbox, hoping that the lake monster will enjoy it as a snack and hoping that maybe it'll bring it up to the surface and they won't have to
Hmm.
dive back down. So she kind of like pulls apart the sandwich. I guess she wants to like feed it in rounds or something. And she takes one half of it and just like plops it like full piece of bread with peanut butter on it, just flops it onto the water. It's gonna get all soggy.
You're nasty.
Fucking hate soggy bread so much too.
Exactly.
Such a waste of good peanut butter.
I know, girl, you're gonna be hungry. I know you're trying to do
Yeah,
good, but
but
think it through. Would you eat that? No.
ew,
Would she eat that?
no.
No. Probably
Yeah,
not,
like
honey.
with a lake monster like that, I don't think
No,
so.
probably not.
But thankfully, since it's a whole just piece of bread, it's just floating on the surface still, right in front of her, making her realize, like, it's not heavy enough because so
Yeah.
far, all that they know about sinking is that something has to be really
Wait.
heavy to sink.
Mm.
Exactly. It's got to have more weight. So she now thinks that her food is a waste because it's unable to sink unless you like start tying rocks to it and stuff.
Yeah.
So she takes the other half of the sandwich, crumbles it up into a ball, and tosses it in the water like it's a piece of
Mm.
trash. But I don't need you anymore.
Never.
But much to her surprise and the
Oh,
other
yeah.
students' surprise, this half, this crumbled up ball, this half of the
Hmm.
sandwich, it does slowly begin to float down or sink down, excuse me,
Opposite.
under the surface
Uh-huh.
into the bottom of the lake. So now the class realizes that even when two objects are the same weight, one of
Hmm.
them can still sink if the surface area of those objects
Hmm.
is decreased or made smaller. So in this case, the slice of bread, it's bigger, so it floats. But the small
Hmm.
piece of bread, same weight, it's smaller and it sank.
Hmm.
So Wanda then, taking this logic of crumbling up a piece of bread,
Uh-oh.
asks the Frizz if they can crumple up the bus marine into a smaller object.
I was worried that she was going to try and crumple someone, but it turns out she's going to crumple everyone.
All of them.
Yeah,
We're
it's maybe
crumbling
worse.
together.
Yeah.
Huddle in.
Come on,
We're
kids.
crumpling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
time to crumple.
And the Frizz loves this idea. She's like, "Oh yes, Wanda, let's
She
crumple.
was
Let's
like,
let's
perfect.
mash
Let's
each other
crumble,
in."
kids. Let's
Yes.
get ready to crumple.
And yes, they press a button on the sub bus marine, and
Mhm.
immediately the bus starts just kind of like crumbling in on itself, the
Uh-huh.
same way that Phoebe was crumbling up that piece of bread into a ball. And it's still bus shaped. It's not like they crumble into like what looks like a crumbled piece of paper, but
Uh-huh.
like it is just becoming more like
Or
compressed.
Scott,
And
yeah.
yeah. So Keisha, at this time, she provides a little more context to explain how all this is working. Because I think it's like
Mm.
Carlos who's saying, like, okay, like I kind of get it. Like I saw what happened to Phoebe's piece of bread, but like, can someone explain it to me like I'm five? Why is this? Explain it to
Uh-huh.
me like I'm a fourth
Like
grader.
I'm
Why is
10.
this working?
Yeah.
Yeah. How is this working? And so Keisha says that even though they weigh the same amount as they did uncrumbled,
Mhm.
crumpling up the bus allows them to sink because the more they crumble in, the less water they shove out of the way on their descent
Mm.
down, meaning that there's less water pushing against them, meaning that water isn't pushing
Yes.
them up. Basically, the less surface area there
Yeah.
is, the less water that can impact it or stop it from falling down. So it can sink.
Mhm.
That's my layman's way of explaining it,
Explain like I'm
courtesy
10.
of the Magic School Bus. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Of course, as they again make their descent to the bottom of the lake, though, Jerry Paveri sees them from the shadows where she's
No,
still
that's right.
hiding. And at this point, she's starting to curse these darn kids. She's like, dang, these kids are intense. They're dogged. They
Yeah.
really want to get to the bottom of this. They must be working with,
Valerie.
no, Valerie. Is she back?
I
Has
thought
she
she was gone
returned? Oh shit. Oh God.
for
I really
good.
have to take them out now. This is bad. I thought that I got rid of her last time. These have all the trappings of a Valerie Frizzle plot. All the
She's like
trappings
turning
and
all like the
signs.
lights off on the sub, so like she's like even
Yeah.
more in the shadows.
Ultimate stealth mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turning on like a reinforced like security guard, like
Yeah,
metal
exactly.
covers
Moving
the
into a
submarine.
cave,
Yeah.
hiding
Like,
as
oh
much
no,
as
she
she can.
can't
I got to
spot
reroute
me.
this plan.
Yeah. We
Shit.
got to start over. These kids have to be trained by the one and only. So, yes, the bus, though, it is sinking again. And once they land down at the bottom of the lake,
Mm.
Wanda, she's at 100%. She is ready to investigate. Like before the class can even come up with a plan to find the monster, Wanda's
Uh-oh.
unlatching the hole, jumping right in, diving out. And all the students are just like, wait, Wanda. And she's
We don't
gone.
have
We
any of
see her
our
just
scuba
swimming
suits
off.
on.
We don't have scuba suits. You're the only one that has one. It's like,
Bye.
not only do we not have them on, like,
None
where
of us
did you
even
even
have them
get
but
that?
you. Bring us from
Yeah.
home again?
again. But as she swims away, the bus marine again starts to float up to the top of the lake.
Oh no, so she's
And the
down there by herself
kids,
now?
yep, so she's by herself. And so they're trying to stop her, like, Wanda, wait, wait, wait. But then they start to float up and they
Okay.
realize, it's like, anyway, so they realize that Wanda's extra weight was helping to keep them stuck.
Damn.
And without her,
Don't
they're
say that to her
really.
face.
I have a note. My comment on this is literally just which dot dot dot. Damn.
Damn.
Like shit. That's eesh. No comment.
Y'all. Come on
Jeez.
now.
Um, I think they do later tell her that to her face, though. They're like, when Wanda left,
Your
like she gets
weight.
back on the bus marine later, and they're like,
Uh-huh.
no, Wanda, you can't leave
They're
yet. Last time you got
recapping.
off, like your weight
We
let us
floated
to
up.
float back
God, and all the
up.
people to say it to, like, she'll kick your ass.
Yeah, I know. Of all people, like that's the last one you want to offend. Like
Yeah.
Wanda will beat you up. Oh man. Yeah, so I was freaking geeking at that line. They're like, Wanda's gone. Now we're full. We need her
It's because of
extra weight. I'm like, good.
her weight.
Jeez. She was like three of those barrels worth of weight.
She's a whole bag of sand, at least four of
Yeah.
them.
Oh my God. So yeah, so they're slowly floating back up to the top of the lake. All they see is Wanda, like they get a better look at her now. They see her
Mhm.
swimming off still,
Uh-huh.
but they also see her get caught in like a patch of like seaweed or something like that, like
Uh-oh.
under this lake. And
Uh-huh.
they assume, because they can also somehow hear her screaming, they assume
Oh
that she's
no,
being
it's a
attacked by
monster.
the monster.
Oh
Yes.
no.
And so not only are they panicking that they're floating back up, but they're also panicking that Wanda's down there alone and being attacked. So
Dying.
they're like very, very quickly trying to think of a way to weigh
Yes.
themselves back down so that they can go down there and save her.
Uh-huh.
And before they can agree on any single thing, because they're like, okay, well, we know we need weight. We need weight. What do we need? Like, what can we use?
Yeah.
We're panicking. We're out of time. Apparently, there is an extra scuba suit in there, and
Mm.
Carlos hops into it. This dude, he heard Keisha give that lesson on crumbling and everything, and now he's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I know everything about
I got
buoyancy
it.
and sinking and whatnot. I got this. So he changes into that scuba suit, opens the hull, dives right into the lake.
Mm.
And what he does instead, though, is he opens some of the plugs in the pontoons lining the submarine. And what
Uh-huh.
that does is it allows more water to flow into the pontoons.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, to weigh
This
them
then,
down.
exactly, it
Got
weighs
it.
them down. And so the
Damn,
bus marine is
Carlos.
able to quickly descend back. Yeah. And they're like, way to go, Carlos.
I was
Like, you
smart.
finally did something. Yeah.
Great.
He's not
He's like,
just a
I'm more
funny
than just a
guy.
pun.
You're so much more than that, Carlos. So, yes, they're back down at the bottom of the lake now, and they can save Wanda from this monster.
Monster.
And Wanda, she is still down there, legit fighting for her life, man. She is trying to kick this seaweed off. She's
She's like trying to cut
pulling.
it.
She's all, yeah, she whips out like a crocodile Dundee style knife,
Like a full
chops that
machete.
shit up. Yeah. A fucking harpoon gun
Yeah.
shooting. Thinking that she's going up against like fucking Cthulhu or no, what's the Kraken or something like
Yes.
that underwater. Man, but no, she eventually does realize that it's just like seaweed. And so she's able to just kind of like kick and punch her way out of it. But like I said, she's fighting here still because she doesn't want to drown,
Yeah.
even though she sees it's not a monster. And she punches and kicks so hard that she finds herself actually punching an object near her. She like feels it and she looks
Okay.
and she sees that what she has just punched is a monstrous head that is
Okay.
attached to an elongated neck that
Mm-hmm.
has poked its head through that patch of seaweed she's trying to swim out and has floated towards her.
This is your
And she
worst fear of being in
freaking
the water, Alexis.
panics.
This is why you hate
I
the ocean.
like,
This is your
I
nightmare.
cannot tell you. The only thing scarier is that I imagine that in a real life scenario, the water would be even darker than what
Right.
we're seeing Wanda in now. So you would see even less detail of this giant
Yes, right.
monster
When you're
head
in
in
like
front of you.
green seas, when you're in like seaweed beds and stuff, you can't see shit.
Listen, like Grace, you just said it perfectly. I it was a bit traumatic watching this episode for me.
It's like, even though they're in
When
a
that
lake,
happened,
just like I'm just picturing you in this scenario because I was like, what would you do? And I was like, don't ask her that. She
I
would
don't,
die. She'd
I would
perish.
simply die or
Yeah.
perish. I would give up.
Yeah.
Like,
You would go home to your watery
I,
grave,
yes,
the ultimate
that
home.
would be my new home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I cannot even fathom such a sight. I feel bad for Wanda in this moment. She is
Yeah.
panicking because yeah, the seaweed is clouding her vision and she's not able to see that it's obviously a fake monster, but
But
still this thing
still.
is like coming right up into her face. And so she doesn't have it. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the harpoon gun like we joked about. She doesn't have a crocodile Dundee
Damn, she's not
knife. She
prepared.
doesn't have any of that stuff. All she got are little, what do you call it?
Left and right.
Lucy and left and right. Her
Yeah,
Lucy
Lucy
and
and
I don't
Gizzy
know,
here.
her Ralphie, something
She
like
only
that.
got
Right?
Nessie and Bessie here.
Yes. Incredible. So she keeps flailing Nessie and Bessie all throughout the water until eventually she punches. Well, she frees herself from the seaweed in doing this,
Okay.
and then she again punches the monster in the face. And damn it,
Damn. That's
Wanda
brutal.
is so strong that she punches the monster's nose clear off of its face and
Oh my God.
watches that nose just kind of sink down to the surface. Or actually, no, sorry, it floats up to the top of the
Wanda's
lake,
having a
actually.
day. She
A
thought she was
day.
dying and then she murdered.
She
Like,
murdered. But then when she sees the nose floating to the top of the
she has
lake, she
questions.
realizes, oh, I didn't murder, thank God. But I've
Yeah.
been lied to. Are you kidding? Which is even worse, I think, to
You think she was
Wanda.
mad
She
before?
can listen, she'll fight a homicide charge. Okay. But for a newscaster to lie to her, oh no, no,
Mm-mm.
no, no, no. All bets are off, Wanda. She's
Jerry is staying in her own watery grave.
yeah, Jerry's
If Wanda's
done.
anything to do with it.
Do not become an enemy of Wanda Lee. That's the
No.
lesson of
Mm-mm.
this episode.
Yes, that's the real
So
lesson.
it is. So yes, she sees now that the monster is fake. And she realizes that Jerry Paveri has made the whole freaking story up
Mm-mm-mm.
because Jerry pulls up right in her submarine as she sees
Oh
Wanda
shit.
fighting with this monster, which would
Uh-huh.
also be very terrifying if you're like free scuba diving underwater in a massive
Yes.
submarine pool. Like, no, no, I don't even want to think about it. That's scarier
I
than
hope this
thinking
is
of a
making
monster.
things worse for you.
Oh man, I random tangent, but I think it was in one of the recent Mission Impossible movies. I went and saw it in theaters, and there is a whole scene where you see just like a submarine underwater, like averting a crash with another submarine, and it made
Uh-huh.
me realize not only how big they are, but just how scary that would be. Because actually, of course, Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise is like swimming in the water trying to
Yeah,
avoid.
naturally.
It's just so big. And I was just like, oh my God,
You're
no,
like, oh
get it
no, oh
down. I'm like
no.
in a movie theater, so I can't leave. And it's like so big in front of me.
And
And
it's
I was
also
like, this is the
pitch
scariest thing
black
I've seen in a
around
movie.
you, so you're also
Yeah.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it feels like you're there because it's like IMAX, all this shit. And again, just new fear unlocked. Just anything giant underwater. I don't like.
Yes,
It doesn't
all
have
your
to be a
worst
whale. It
fears.
doesn't have to be a monster. It can just be a submarine. I
Yeah.
don't care. It's a whole other planet that I don't want to mess with down there.
She hates it.
Yes. And so, yeah, Wanda is pretty pissed now and she's shooketh now that she
Yeah.
realizes that Jerry lied to her. And not only her, but she's about to lie to the whole public because she's trying to not only create this story about a monster, but she's also trying to debunk the very story that she is creating,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
all just to boost her ratings and have this great story to broadcast on In Your Face, where she's obviously going to reveal the whole conspiracy herself
Yes,
and
that
blame
she
it on
caused
someone, though.
herself. Yeah.
Yes, you looked like you were going to say something there. Did
You were
you?
just like, when you
Yeah.
said, what was your exact line that you said of like, she's
She
realizing
shook
that,
it. Oh, she
basically
didn't
just
just
like,
lie to Wanda, but she's
oh
going to
yeah,
lie to
and
the
she's
whole
gonna lie
public.
to everybody about what happened to this fourth grader unless Wanda has something to do with it. Of like, Jerry's gonna kill Wanda down there and like lie that the monster killed her.
She's the only witness.
Exactly.
She's the only
And
witness,
like
so she's got to
Jerry's
go.
gonna become a
You've seen too
hero
much.
that like she found the body of this
The dead
child
body.
that the monster killed. And
Yes.
and that's why Wanda's like, she's about to tell a lie to the whole fucking world about me.
No, no, no. There's only one dead person leaving this. It ain't gonna be Wanda Lee. Yeah.
She's blowing off
No.
Jerry or Nessie and Bessie.
Bessie and Nessie. Yeah.
Cracking those
Let's
knuckles.
go. Yeah. Actually, and that's, yeah, I mean, very good, kind of like you just called Jerry out there, because as like all of this stuff is happening, we see Jerry consistently like pivoting on how like the angle that her story is going to
Oh,
take. She's like, okay, I was going to do this, but now that you've discovered it, I'm going to actually say that you planted the monster down here and that I am calling you guys out like as little childhood pranksters.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So you're right. She probably, I mean, I'm sure
Jerry.
that came across her mind at one point. Like, well, I could just kill her and then say that the monster did it, and then I'll be a hero for saving her and finding the monster. Yeah. Kind of
Jerry, holy
crazy.
shit. Okay.
Good old broadcast journalism, you know.
Damn.
And so, yeah. This is Wanda's vigilante origin story, I believe, this
Yes.
episode, because
Frizz is watching actually from above, like, perfect. I've radicalized her.
she's got like the not a
Like a down
periscope. Maybe it is a
periscope.
periscope. Yeah. She's like looking
underneath.
from the sub. You just like see it scoping,
Yeah.
and she sees them. The other students are freaking out, like, we have to find Wanda. She might have died. And the first is like, yeah. Think
Wait.
about a way to find her. And she's actually
Yeah.
just watching, like, good Wanda.
Yeah.
Very
She's like,
good.
Wanda's not ready yet. Hold on. I need her to cross over and then we'll save her.
And yes, I say that this is her vigilante origin story because Wanda now realizes that she can no longer trust the news. She can no longer trust these journalists who are just saying whatever they want to say on TV. And she can no longer trust any old picture that is put up on television. So she decides at this very moment that she will not let Jerry Paveri get away with this. And she swims out of there while Jerry Paveri just kind of hangs back in her submarine. Like, who are they going to believe? You, a little fourth grader, or me, like an esteemed award-winning investigative journalist? Come on.
Yeah.
Exactly. In the submarine who also owns a helicopter. Yeah, like, please. She's reputable. So she thinks. So, like I said, Jerry brushes off those threats and just kind of gets back to her whole like staging her monster and everything to get it ready for the big reveal.
Okay.
Wanda does make her way back to the bus marine, and all the students are excited to see her. And she is super ready to debrief the students on everything that she found. But the frizz, before Wanda can start talking, and I love that it ties into what you just said about her like watching, like saying, wait, we don't need to save Wanda yet, because literally all that the frizz says when Wanda gets back up into the ship, it's not, are you okay? We saw you fighting for your life. It's like, do you need help with anything? Here, let me help you get your mask off or anything like that. No. She just in her very, very calming, soothing, sing-songy voice says, did you find the evidence you were looking for, Wanda?
She fucking knew.
Like, this bitch knew the whole time.
She was like, did you find Jerry down there, perhaps?
Did you see?
See what I needed you to see? Have you seen? Wanda, have you seen? Damn, Frizz. She fucking knew.
You just made me spit some of my coffee. Have you seen? Did you see it?
Did you see what I see?
What I saw? Which
she's ready.
Yeah. When she asked that in that way, that very calm voice, and you like see it in her eyes too. She's looking at her like, did you? I was like, oh, the frizz was absolutely doing recon. Like that is what she was doing before in her scuba suit. That's the moment that I realized, like, oh, this whole thing is planned. Like none of this is accidental.
Yep. Amazing. Yes.
So, yes. And like you added in too, like her and Jerry, they go back. This isn't some random hit job. The frizz knows who she's targeting here. So yes, Wanda obviously tells the students that the monster is fake and that Jerry Paveri made the entire thing up as a bit of creative journalism, and tells the students that they have to stop her from lying to the unsuspecting public just so that she can boost her ratings.
Hell yeah, Wanda.
Hell yeah, Wanda. So the students begin to pump air into the pontoons on the bus marine, which allows water to come out of the pontoons and makes the bus marine lighter, causing it to slowly start to float back up to the surface of the lake, which, as they say later in the episode, is apparently how submarines work.
Oh.
I've always kind of wondered how they work, but I didn't want to think too hard about it because I don't want to think about being that deep underwater. So I was like,
Right,
I don't
this is
know,
all your
not
hell.
my bag. Let someone else figure it out. Don't care. But it is
Next.
interesting to know. Yep, that they just
Interesting.
like either take on water in certain like tanks on
Yeah.
the hull, or they release air so that water can be pushed out. And then yeah, or
Interesting.
they put in air so that water can be pushed out, and then
Yeah.
that allows them to float back up. Interesting stuff. Don't care though. Never gonna ride one.
Next.
Yeah, never gonna ride one. I'm like, well, no, no. But anyways, of course, Paveri intervenes with her high-tech submarine,
Uh,
and she like pulls some of the plugs out of the pontoons on the bus marine, and she's like
oh,
chasing
these
after
kids.
them so that they don't float back up to the top.
Uh-huh.
And it causes the students and the bus to again sink down to the bottom of the lake due to the water flowing back into the pontoons and weighing them down.
Damn. Okay.
So, as a last ditch effort to rise back up to the surface before Jerry begins her live broadcast on these clear waters of Walker Lake, the students decide that they have to uncrumple themselves now to make the bus
Mm.
bigger, like
Okay.
Phoebe's piece of bread. The one that didn't sink down was
Yes.
bigger than the one that did. So they push even more water out of the way, or so that they can push water out of the way to float back up to the surface.
Uh-huh.
So the students manually pull apart the bus to uncrumple it, and they quickly do begin to float their way back up to the top.
Mm.
But Wanda's like, now wait a minute, before you guys get back up there, Tim, come with me. We're gonna go down there and do one last little thing before we
Get
get
your
back up to
camera.
the top of the lake. Get your camera,
Hell
Tim.
yeah.
Let's go.
This is also like, sorry, as a side note, like an
Mhm.
actual high stakes episode of like, are they going to get there before the broadcast airs or not? Like, usually it's
Yeah,
like Frizz can always just be like, I'll get you out of this flood that I caused. No big deal. But I'm like,
exactly.
this has like an actual villain in this episode, and are like, I know they're going to make it, but like, are they going to make it? Kind of thing.
Right. Are
Like,
they gonna beat her? It's like an actual race.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you
That's
said,
it.
high
That's my only thought.
stakes.
It's just
Yeah.
like, this is an actual high stakes situation
Hmm.
from preventing this perpetuating of a lie.
Right.
Okay.
And I think it's because this might be, I guess, other than the Michael York episode, this is like the first time that they have like an adversary, like a clear
Right, but even
adversary.
with Michael
I feel
York, they
like,
thought he was an adversary, and he was just like
yeah, and he
it was just
wasn't
a
exactly.
misunderstanding kind of thing.
Yeah.
Versus
But in this
this,
case,
as far
like,
as I know,
nah, she's a villain.
she sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This lady is a villain. So,
yeah,
yes, good, very good point. Good point. Like, and it does, like, you can like feel the stress in it all. Like,
yeah.
you want the
I'm
kids, like, hurry up,
stressed.
do something. Yeah, do
Yeah,
something, please. So, yes, they Wanda and Tim leave. They dive back down with Tim's camera while the rest
uh-huh.
of the students and the bus floats right on back up to the top of the lake. And when they get there, they also see at the top of the lake Jerry standing on like the rail of her helicopter, which is like sitting on the water.
Uh-huh.
She's like, not gonna lie, super badass. And
I know, so
like,
that's pretty cool,
she
actually.
must know a thing or two about helicopters. Like, she's got great core strength too to like balance herself. I don't think she has
Yeah,
on a life vest or anything. She's not
that
attached to that thing.
that's
She
pretty
has a
fucking
camera
cool.
sitting like in the helicopter, and she's on her mic standing on the railing, like filming and
Damn,
recording herself. So, like, I mean, I got to give it to her. She's
that's
doing
pretty
a good
cool.
job, but that's
Yeah,
what makes it even more dangerous that that
yes,
she
that she's so
has
good
like
at
these
it.
skills and she's so good at what
Yes,
she's
makes it more
doing and she's just
believable.
lying. Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
So she's delivering this intense live broadcast about the dangers of this lake monster and all
Mhm.
of that. But the broadcast, it's interrupted when Wanda and Tim, they've swum back down to the bottom of the lake. They
Uh-huh.
found that giant inflatable lake monster that Wanda saw down there.
Mm-hmm.
They notice that it's weighted down and everything so that
Hell
it
yeah,
won't, float up to the
float up.
surface. Apparently, Jerry has some contraption where she was going to like press a button that released the weights and then like sent it up
Oh,
right as
and
she was
then
doing her broadcast. Yeah. And then she could
uh-huh.
say, like, see, it's fake or whatever. But the kids, Wanda and Tim, they get in the way of this. They release the weights themselves. And this monster, it pops out of the water right under Paveri, knocking over her helicopter and throwing her into the lake, which is like, whoa, okay, hold on, too much, too much.
Riz is like,
Reverse.
I knew Wanda was ready.
The Frizz is just sitting on the bus, like looking from a window, like,
I picked the right
get
one.
Black Hawk down. Like, it's actually like in a real scenario, that would be very bad if you saw like a helicopter like flip over in
Out
the
of
water with
control.
someone standing
Right
on it.
there, and like get
Yeah,
thrown into the
like
water as the helicopter's flipped into the water. Yeah, that person be dead for sure.
reverse. Go back. Too much, kids, too much. But Wanda and Tim, they're swimming right up after it. Tim's getting this whole thing on camera too, getting
Damn.
great shots, excellent shots. And the bus marine at this exact moment also appears on the surface just
Mm.
after this inflatable monster, and Wanda and Tim also appear. And Wanda tells Tim to focus the camera, like, focus, focus. All right, get this shot right here.
Here,
Get
here,
this.
here.
And she unplugs the monster even more, and we watch all of the air deflate. And this inflatable
Nice.
just flies out of the water, soaring through an air like a balloon that's just had the
Mm.
been untied or whatever
Yeah.
and released. So Paveri is like waiting in the water by her overturned helicopter,
Yikes.
devastated that her camera, her helicopter, and her
Her
story are
story.
all ruined.
Hmm.
And the next clip we see,
Yes.
which also the kids are like laughing at her too, like, ha ha, we got you.
Sucks to suck.
Try to get a new helicopter now.
I imagine Keisha is just standing on the dock, like picking up her own mic and swinging it because she's about to take that Saturday morning slot.
Yes.
Just like
She's like,
it's mine
this
now,
is my
bitch.
show now. I'm glad you said that because they basically do. The next thing that we see is next weekend's edition of In Your Face,
Yes.
where Jerry Paveri is interviewing none other than Wanda, Tim, and the Frizz and the rest of the class.
right,
Like
bitch.
Wanda and Tim are sitting in the chairs right by Jerry Paveri, and the rest of the class and the Frizz are standing all behind them. And she's asking Wanda and Tim to recount the work that they did to capture Paveri's defeat on camera. And she's like congratulating Tim on his great camera skills and like, you got really
she's
good
trying to
shots there,
spin
Tim.
it.
I gotta admit,
trying to spin it.
she legit is. She's like trying to
Like, this
she's
is a
like
lesson I
spinning
was
it
teaching
and
the
also
kids.
right. Well, she's an opportunist. Let's put it this way. She will find a way to make any story work for her.
Yes.
Because not only are the kids there explaining how they exposed her, but basically they're publicly shaming her as well. Like they're making fun of her on live TV, on her own show in her own studio, which is a flex and a half.
Damn. Yeah.
And they're calling her out for trying to lie to the public. And Wanda reminds her, like, you need to apologize, by the way. And like, it sounds like Jerry wasn't originally going to apologize because she's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yes.
Right. Because she's live on air. She can't say no to a child.
Exactly. But also, she like takes this opportunity to be like, you're right. I, Jerry Paveri, am so sorry to these kids and the public for lying. Anyway, next question. She gets right back. It's like the perfect, just like she totally phoned it in, was probably reading it from a prompter, no remorse, no
At
like
most,
reflection, no sense
she was
of
like,
actual, like I did
better at my
something wrong.
next scam.
Exactly.
That's all I've
Right.
learned.
Basically. And she knows like people love a good apology. Like people will hate you if you mess something up, but they'll forgive you if you apologize. Back. It's just don't act like you're never wrong. Just say, you know what, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be better. So she's like, this is my chance to rebrand myself as a distinguished journalist. I'm so sorry. So anyway, how did you guys get that shot? Tell me more about it. Yeah, you know.
Let's continue with the story.
She is also a bit thankful for the kids, and she acknowledges that not only did the camera work and their bravery expose her and all of that, and it actually did a good job of breaking a story, but it also captured footage that Jerry was able to use to get a new job as the host of a new underwater action adventure series. Which honestly, though, annoying that she's using all of this to like, you know,
further
get richer,
career.
basically, further her career. But I'm glad that she's leaving broadcast journalism and doing something that's like clearly just like a reality show or, you know, something like that. Like, yes, go do like a Shark Week program.
And you know what? We did see her do some badass moves. So like, maybe she is like, more fitting for that.
Something tells me that maybe she used to like do war coverage or something. And like she came back to Walkerville and was bored. Yeah.
She like got so like
I'll make
traumatized. She I see back in the adrenaline rush, you know, put me back in. You know what?
Right.
Fine. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and of all the things she lied about, at least it was something harmless and not like a real world news event that's
Yes.
like actually hurting people
Impacting
and doing
lives.
damage to society. Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm like, all right, Jerry, I still dislike you
She was small
greatly, but like,
potatoes.
exactly, exactly. So Jerry, like I said, she tells the kids that they were brave. She congratulates Tim on his camera work. She apologizes, and in the end, she tells Miss Frizzle that she must be very proud of her class. And the Frizz
Hmm.
replies, "Well, Jerry, as you yourself once said, the truth always floats to the surface." And that's the end of the main part of the episode.
Wow. The Frizz wins
So
again, Jerry.
Oh, the Frizz never loses, which is
Yeah.
why Jerry's like, damn it, you know what?
I'm leaving.
I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
out. You know what? I'm going to tell her right now where I'm going so that she doesn't need
She
to scare me
knows.
when she finds me. She
Yeah.
knows where I am. I won't be surprised. And I'm doing wholesome reality television
Simple.
work now.
Wholesome.
Exactly. I'm not lying on the mainstream news
I'm
anymore
not
or like
lying
on
in a place where
broadcast.
I'm not supposed to lie to the public.
Exactly. It's
I'm
okay
lying in
to
a
lie on
place that
reality TV.
thrives in lies.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
So yes, in the
Incredible.
Ask the Producer segment, we actually don't have
Yes.
the producer in this episode, which I think is the first episode where the
Oh,
producer has not appeared, which is
yes.
interesting. And kind of sad because it's our last episode. So
Yeah.
last week's was the last, like,
Yeah.
ask
Our
the legit
producer.
producer.
Yeah.
Instead, we just have Jerry Paveri and Liz in Jerry's dressing room,
Oh,
which
okay.
I
That's kind of
love the
funny.
like meta-ness of it all, which
Yeah.
happened in my episode with Jessica Walter, where she was like
Yes.
still in
Popped
character
in. Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah, popped in to speak with the producer. In this case, Jerry's in her dressing room, and I guess she's like still on she's on the set and people are calling her still thinking that they have the producer's line, but it's her
Oh,
line.
funny.
And
Uh-huh.
she keeps answering the phone because she thinks it's like her agent calling or something. She's
Uh-huh.
like, I shouldn't get that. Well, it's probably my agent,
Just
so I should. And she's like, hello. But it's actually just a bunch of, well, actually kids telling
yes.
her
Hell
all
yeah.
of
Well,
these
actually,
facts
her
about
ass.
submarines, exactly, and saying, like, don't dive into water without a lifeguard nearby, yada, 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 blah, blah,
Uh-huh.
blah. And that's the end of the episode
Wow.
and the
That
end
was
of our
so
Magic School Bus arc.
I know the arc. I loved this arc
Yeah.
so much. That was really fun. I really like that there was an actual like nemesis, like villain in it that like, yeah, caused a little bit more
Yeah, the
tension,
stakes
a
were
little
up.
more,
Yeah,
yeah, really
the
raised
kids
the
were actually in
stakes.
danger. Because, yeah,
Right.
usually
Mhm.
I think that's another aspect of it too. Like, yes, they thought Michael York was a villain, but he wasn't. And we
Right, he
know that the Frizz
wasn't.
probably knew who he
Right, she
actually
knew
was or
him. She
Henry,
brought
whatever.
Liz
Yeah,
to him.
right. But in this case, it's like, no, there's actually someone else who's trying to get rid of you kids. Like, it's
Yeah,
not just you guys running into a natural occurring event that the Frizz can protect you from. There's
exactly.
another full grown adult here who also
Who's
does
working
not like the
against
Frizz,
you.
who's trying to, yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't only
Yes.
have the water to fear and the monster to fear, you have the worst monster of all, a
Humans.
human. Yeah.
Wow, yeah,
Good
that
luck,
I liked
kids.
that
Good
as our
luck.
last like the most intense one for last, it feels like.
Yeah, yeah. And the best
Great work.
lesson maybe that the kids have learned, not just about
I
floating
mean,
and sinking and media literacy, but that sometimes the scariest of them all is your
is
own. It's the
yes,
human.
exactly. Damn, we
The
learned a
Frizz's
lot of lessons
greatest
from this
lesson.
fucking show.
We did. We did. I feel a lot smarter. I do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got that like nostalgic curiosity to me
Mm,
now. Like, oh, how do things work or
yes, except for
whatever.
zippers.
Explain it to me like I'm 10, you know?
Yeah, always.
Yes.
Wow, great job.
But
That was
so
very
that's
fun.
it. Thank you. Thank you. But that is for now the end of our Magic School Bus arc. It's been
Yeah,
awesome. It's
it's
been
been
so
so
much
fun.
fun. So much fun reliving this whole show
Yes.
and all the
Don't
great
forget,
stuff that PBS did. Yeah.
I say don't forget to support PBS.
Yes,
They need us
especially
now more than
now.
ever.
Yeah,
Yes, which
now
was kind
more
of the
than ever.
impetus for us doing some PBS shows. So don't forget to
It
support
was.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess to that extent, like now we're dusting off the Halloween decorations and we're gonna
Woo!
get
Hey,
spooky because it is
it's
now
spooky.
October technically-ish. I know we're like a
Yes.
week early,
It's a
but
week before,
we're
but
ready to
it's
celebrate
in our
Halloween.
hearts. Yes.
Yes. And so next week, Grace is going to
Hmm.
tell us a wonderful spooky tale to get us
We
all ready
shall.
for the Halloween season. And
Yes.
until then, when I cannot wait to get started on our
Yes.
holiday arc, I can't believe it's
Hmm.
already the end of the year. But until then, Grace, who should they tell about this podcast?
Okay, so this is a little broad, but
Okay.
if you have a Facebook, I think you should tell your
Ooh.
Facebook friends about this
Oh,
because, like, just like post on Facebook because,
yeah.
we talked about fake news in this episode, and what's more full of fake news than Facebook? So
Oh
break
my
up that
God.
fake news by posting this episode to Facebook and
Hmm.
break up that algorithm, that algo for people
Yeah.
with this episode and our show.
Mm.
And who else should our listeners and viewers tell?
After that, you should tell someone in the Navy who
Oh,
either has been on a submarine or
nice.
who works with submarines or works with people who are on the
Yeah, tell them
submarines.
to
Yeah,
tell us how
tell
it
them. Or
works.
not just someone in the Navy or Coast Guard who like works on the water and have they
Yeah,
seen a water monster of any
right.
sort? Yeah.
Very importantly.
Yeah,
Wow,
most
nice.
importantly.
Good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Cool.
So until then, though,
All right. See you next week.
see you
Bye.
next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.